Hey guys, Dr. Frank here with Northtown Chiropractic and Injury Rehab, and today I'm here with Blake Zaccanino from Shaw & Shaw Law Firm. If you drive a car, this topic applies to you today. We're going to be talking about personal injury and the importance of understanding the processes behind what to do if you, God forbid, find yourself in a car accident. So Blake, thanks for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. What I want to say is this. So a lot of times I have patients come in, and I see this all the time, where they say, listen, I was in a car accident, but I'm not the type of person to sue someone. I don't want to get an attorney. I don't want to do that. And I explain to them, listen, there's some very important things you have to understand. Right off the bat, when you're in a car accident, you're not actually suing another person. This isn't a personal matter. Could you explain what the processes that occur after a car accident?
Sure. So, I guess I think it would make the most sense. I'll just kind of explain from our perspective when a client comes in and they've been in a motor vehicle accident, kind of how we handle it. So basically how it works is that somebody's hurt in a car accident, they will come and see us, we'll sign them up, get all the information down. The first priority is no fault benefits. So there's two parts to every case. There's no fault, which is through your own insurance company, that your own policy that you pay for, that will cover a minimum of up to $50,000 of your medical bills, your lost wages, your travel expenses, if you need household help as a result of the crash and your injuries. That's aspect number one. So when we get somebody in, the first priority is there's a lot of deadlines that we have to meet to allow you to get those no fault benefits initially. And that probably, one of the most important things to realize is that is set up to apply it regardless of who is at fault for what happened. That's why it's called no fault. So, that's how we'll handle it, is we'll put the no fault carriers on notice so that the injured person could start receiving those benefits right away. Now, kind of the caveat that the law set up was that they said, hey, through your own insurance company, we're going to cover this amount of money for these particular damages that you had as a result of your accident. But if you want anything above and beyond what no fault covers, you have to go after the other party's insurance policy. So as Dr. Frank was saying, you're not going after the person individually. It's not a personal thing. You're going after their insurance policy. But what the law said was, because of no fault, in order to get money from the other person, you have to have a certain type of injury.
Okay, so what I'm understanding you saying is, you're saying if I'm in a car accident tomorrow, I retain an attorney, you're going to let my insurance carrier know that I was in an accident, I have medical expenses, I have bills that need to be paid, I may have lost wages, perhaps I'm on disability, God forbid, and I'm out of work. That's my policy to start. Then, if I need additional help covering medical expenses, lost wages, in-home help, travel expenses, I know going to doctors gets extremely expensive for these patients.
And pain and suffering.
And pain and suffering, that's then when we're seeking out the other individual's policy.
Right.
Correct? Okay, now this is important. I know on our end, we always emphasize this to patients, that there are deadlines for these things. So if I have a patient who's in here, they're just in a car accident and they're saying, one, I don't think I want to get an attorney, I'm usually saying, listen, you may want to reconsider, because quite frankly, that's confusing, what you just described.
It is.
And part two is,
even for some lawyers,
I could imagine.
It's very confusing.
And part two is the deadlines to this. So what are those deadlines? What do you guys, I think there's one for 45 days from our end. I know there is for medical bills. What deadlines do people have to meet? What are the big deadlines if someone's in an accident?
Okay, so the big deadlines for the no fault portion of the case, and probably the most important part for the injured person, is to file a no fault application with your insurance company within 30 days from the date of your injury. Because if no fault is not put on notice in that time frame, they could say, nope, you're not entitled to those benefits, and that could be huge. And the other aspect is, if you want anything above and beyond no fault and to go after another person's insurance policy and bring a formal lawsuit, for motor vehicle crashes in New York, you have to do that within 3 years of the date of your injury. So that's a little bit longer period of time, and the reason for that is because you have to treat for your injuries over that period of time, because the only way that you can show the court that you have a certain qualifying injury is through medical treatment and medical documents. So they're not going to take an injured person's word for it. That's a certain, they will to some extent, but to the more full extent, they're going to be looking at the medical records and what they say.
That makes sense. You know, I've seen horror stories. I know this exists for people watching thinking, oh, we're just talking about car accidents and stuff. I've seen people go $300,000, $400,000 in debt for medical expenses alone because they decided, oh, I want to wait. I'm not going to pursue this, right? Maybe a little neck injury turned into loss of function in the hand and the arm and loss of employment. And I know once you wait too much time, things can go bad. I've seen it firsthand. I'm sure you guys have seen it too, where you have someone calling saying, what can I do? And once you miss these deadlines, once you miss these dates, it becomes very challenging. So thank you for clarifying on that.
Of course. You know, and I think the other reason why you should see a lawyer right away is because what will happen is, you know, so from our end, we, as we talked about, put no fault on notice, because that applies regardless of who was at fault. But then also setting the case up to allowing the injured party to get more benefits from the other driver's insurance carrier, which, you know, how it works is we will kind of track the injured person's treatment over a period of time. We'll put the other driver's insurance carrier on notice, so they will be in contact with us over that time frame and call us and say, hey, how is, you know, the injured person doing? And you know, we'll be in contact with them. And how it works is that once we feel that a person is done treating, they're at the point where they're not getting any better, we will collect the medical records and put together a detailed letter to the insurance carrier and say, hey, you know, as far as who is at fault, it wasn't the injured person's fault. As far as the injury, here are the injuries that the person had, therefore we are asking for this amount of money. And what will happen is the insurance carrier will look at the medical records, evaluate them, call us and say, we're willing to offer a certain amount of money. We talk with you and you say, I'm happy with that or I'm not happy with that. And if you can't settle it, then that's when you sue, after you've exhausted that process of going through and seeing if you can resolve it without having to sue anyone else's insurance company.
That's fascinating. You're not suing right off the bat. That's the point that I wanted to get across to people. If you're in a car accident, seek medical care, work with an attorney. This is complicated, and meet these deadlines. Blake, thank you for that. Guys, we're going to do another part of this where we talk a little bit about injuries, the different types of injuries that we see in car accidents. Stay tuned. We look forward to hearing from you guys soon.
Thank you.